The best things to do in California. And the best of California, I'm Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, entertaining, and on today's very special live stream, we are joined with the magic of the internet from Josh from California Through My Lens. Josh, welcome to the live stream.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I on these live streams, I really need to make the title of my name shorter that gets your name up there too, because you are Josh and I am Chris. All right, so Josh is on today because his channel, California Through My Lens, I think is one of the most comprehensive YouTube channels on California. He's got almost 300 plus videos just on California. He's actually got a second channel called Through My Lens on other things outside of California, but I think it's pretty safe to say Josh is an expert on California, and I've heard some people refer to him as the modern Huell Hauser, really documenting California. So we have an expert in the house, and we're going to be talking about some of the things like what are the best national parks, what are the best hikes, what are the best beaches, beach towns, big cities, little cities, all those sorts of things. But first, I want to talk to Josh a little bit about what got him started in being an expert on California. So Josh, how did you get started with this YouTube channel focused on California travel?
Yeah, first, I see the chat that says it's yellow time. Is that an official slogan for the live streams? It's yellow time.
It sounds good. This is the first time I've heard it, so all right, I like it.
I got started. I've been traveling California for almost 8 years now, running a website and blog dedicated to the state. And then 2 or 3 years ago, I kind of started seeing people be more interested in some of the more visual mediums. So like the photography and video and those types of elements. And so I was like, hey, I'll throw my hand into the YouTube ring, and just started producing a lot of videos. And some of the early ones are really bad, but hopefully the videos are getting pretty good now. And I just love traveling around California and capturing it and trying to share it and encourage as many people as I can to visit this cool state that we have.
Right on. Well, I think we've all got to start someplace. And, I think that's almost a fun thing about the first ones are pretty bad. The first Yellow Productions video from 2008 on Oslo, Norway is pretty bad too, but it's still fun to go watch and laugh at a little bit. So what you mentioned you like sharing California. What are your favorite things about California?
I think that California is just pretty incredible because of the diversity that it has. I mean, there's so many things that you can do on a trip to California. You can go to the beach, you can hike, you can climb 14,000 foot peaks, you can visit some of the most popular cities in the world. You can have all sorts of different types of food. I mean, it's just the diversity that keeps me coming back and keeps me exploring California to see things over and over and over again.
Yeah. And for people who are maybe visiting California for the first time, what do you think they should keep in mind when they're visiting the fantastic Golden State?
Yeah, I always field questions that are like, hey, I'm going to go to San Francisco and then I'm going to drive to LA and then I'm going to, head up to Yosemite and I have 5 days. And I think that a lot of times people just underestimate how big California really is. I mean, the state is humongous. It takes a good 14 hours to drive from the southern portion to the northern portion. So just trying to bite off too many things on your trip to California is usually the problem that I see most people have.
Yeah, for sure. It's really hard to conquer all at the same time. You mentioned Southern California and Northern California. Let's just get this out of the way right at the beginning. What's the better part, Southern California or Northern California? Fight.
Well, I mean, I live in Southern California, so I guess I can't talk too bad on it. But I love going to Northern California. For me, the nature and those types of things are what I'm most excited about in the state. And it seems like Southern California has a lot more of the people, and Northern California has a lot more of the kind of unique nature experiences you can have away from the crowds. We have a lot of crowds in Southern California.
For sure. I just saw the video you put up most recently is on the Lassen Volcanic National Park. That looked really cool. And then I did it on a map, like, how come I've never been to this place? Where is it? And I'm like, oh, like north of Sacramento. I'm like, to me, that's like this magical part of the state that I've never ventured north of Sacramento,
And it's way north of Sacramento. It's like you got to go like 3-4 hours north just to get to Lassen. So I mean, it doesn't get visited as often as I think it should, which is why I kind of wanted to introduce it to people and be like, man, you guys got to get up here. Sleep it on Lassen National Park right now.
Yeah, right on. Well, people know I travel to Japan all the time, and Japan has a ton of those like volcanic type national parks. And I love onsens and those sorts of things, which is the Japanese term for hot springs. So it was neat to see that. Byron on the live stream says, literally my favorite guys on YouTube. Byron, you're too kind.
Thank you. That is very nice of you.
And Brian wants to thank you for all your tips. You were helpful for Brian's trip to Oregon.
Thanks, Brian. I only have 1 or 2 videos on Oregon, so I'm glad that they were helpful for your trip.
That's good. So speaking of parks, what do you think is the best national park in California? By the way, we're on to the like best of things now. So starting with parks, since we were talking about parks.
California has 9 national parks, and honestly, like that's like picking a favorite child. I mean, I love every single one of them. They're all so diverse and interesting. But probably for me, Yosemite. I got my over here Yosemite picture. That's probably my favorite. Yeah, there you go. That's my favorite national park. It's just so incredible. The first time you see it, it's like something you'll never forget. And then some of the best waterfalls and hikes and everything in California are in Yosemite.
Right on. Yeah, my favorite, I really like Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree is east of Los Angeles, north of Palm Springs. These Joshua trees that are native to these places really look like something out of Dr. Seuss. And so it's just kind of fun to like walk through almost a storybook. So in addition to national parks, now what's your favorite state park?
Yeah, I'll say on Joshua Tree too, though. I got to see it when it snowed last year, and that was like one of the coolest experiences I've ever had on my 8 years in California, was being able to be in that desert landscape and just watch the snow coming down. So I love Joshua Tree as well.
Yeah, I saw some of your pictures actually of the Joshua trees in the snow, and that looked really neat.
So state parks, right? That was your next
yes.
one.
Yes. Can you repeat the question? Yes. Best state park.
Yeah, that state parks there's so many of those in California. I mean, I think people don't understand like how much we have in California. So 9 national parks, and then I think there's almost 300 or so state parks. I mean, so there's a huge amount of diversity there. But the one that I always kind of find myself gravitating to is when I'm up in Northern California in like the Tahoe area. There's one called Emerald Bay, and it's just an incredible part of the Lake Tahoe area itself. But then there's a beach you can go down to. You can kayak across to a little island and hike, and there's just so much cool diversity there that it's like one of those state parks that I'm like, man, I'll go there every single time I'm in the Tahoe area.
Right on. I missed that one when I went to Tahoe, so I'll have to check that out next time I go. My favorite state park, it's here in Southern California. It's Crystal Cove State Park. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll often see I post a lot of pictures of Crystal Cove State Park. It's a really natural beach environment, and it's actually in my beach series that I'm doing. It's one of the next ones that I'm going to do is a video on Crystal Cove. And Josh,
what's nice about Crystal Cove too is that you can go hiking and then you can eat at the Shake Shack right afterwards.
For sure, for sure. Well, there's the Shake Shack, and then there's also there's a restaurant like right on the beach too, which is also really cool. Like the Shake Shack on the cliff has the view, and then like the beach shack is kind of neat too. Traveling the World has a question about Yosemite and asks, how much time should I spend in Yosemite, and what should I do?
You should spend as much time as you possibly can in Yosemite. It's it's incredible. I mean, obviously, if you have one day, that's great. Go in and explore the valley. I have a video that me and my dad did of just like 24 hours we spent in the valley. So that's a great way to do it. But if you have more time, going up to the Glacier Point Road, and you can do some cool hikes there, or driving Tioga Pass, which is a big pass that goes through the Eastern Sierras and has a bunch of incredible lakes and things that you can see all just by driving up and pulling out on the road. So if you can do 2 to 3 days in Yosemite, that would be a great start for sure.
Speaking of lakes, Gaming Kingdom wants to know, what are the best lakes to visit?
Dang. There's so many lakes in California. Lake Tahoe, for sure. That's one of the biggest ones. I mean, if you like kind of the more unique aspects of California, Salton Sea in Southern California is the largest lake, or one of the largest lakes in California. And that one's really interesting to see too, with like just how kind of like the biodiversity and everything has affected that lake. And then there's one more in Big Pine called hiking the North Fork of Big Pine. It's kind of a glacial lake that has turquoise water. It's pretty incredible to see as well.
So the Salton Sea is special because it's actually like salt water, right? I mean, as opposed to most other lakes are freshwater, aren't they?
Yeah, basically it doesn't have a drain, so everything gets stuck there, and it's kind of killed off all of the fish and everything, and it's a crazy place.
Sean wants to know from Australia, is Tahoe well worth it?
Absolutely, Tahoe is one of my favorite places in California, especially if you like outdoor adventures. It's cool because you can stay in the South Lake Tahoe area, and there's like casinos and stuff, so you can do the casinos and restaurants and all those types of things. But then you can get out on the water, you can go hiking, just a lot of diversity that you can experience.
John says, my two favorite people right here. So, John Videos, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Hermes, welcome from the Philippines. It is such a small
Wow.
world. And Kathy says she loves all the collaborations too. All right, great. Thank you, Kathy. Now we talked about lakes. What do you think about beaches? What do you think the best beach in California is?
I love La Jolla down in Southern California. Just a cool little town. You get to see the seals and then have the beaches as well.
Yeah. So La Jolla is pretty neat. And speaking of Dr. Seuss trees, it's no longer there anymore. But the tree that was in the Lorax, like the Dr. Seuss inspired that thing, was actually a tree that was in La Jolla. So there's other trees that look like that, but that one's not there anymore.
I tried to find it last time. That's good to know that it's not there.
When did you go last?
That was probably like a year ago or so.
Yeah, it was probably gone. I think it was about a year and a half ago is when it toppled from rain and the ground being too soggy. Yeah. So my favorite.
What
Go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say, what's your favorite beach? I know you do a lot of stuff with the beaches.
Yeah, so my favorite, it's actually the video I just put out this last weekend on Laguna Beach. And in particular, there's a beach in Laguna Beach called Thousand Steps Beach. So Thousand Steps Beach, it's really not 1,000, it's like 220 something steps. But it feels like about 1,000 when you go up. But it's just like super remote from the world. And then I also like to admire the like tens of $1 million houses because they're up on these cliffs and the houses have these like funiculars built for them to go from their house on Pacific Coast Highway down to the beach. And I'm just like, that's something to have your own like funicular to get down to your beach house from your main house.
I was hoping that was going to be a Yellow Productions thing. You're going to get one of those beach houses and invite me over.
I'm working on it, Josh. That'd be a lot of fun. That would, maybe we do that like at Airbnb kind of thing. We could do like a hotel review on a Laguna Beach beach house. I think
That would be awesome.
Yes. Scottman says when he goes to San Diego, he definitely wants to visit La Jolla. And Orca Productions likes Mission Beach in San Diego. I like Mission Beach too. I like the boardwalk in Mission Beach. Mission Beach is kind of neat because it has this big wooden roller coaster on the beach. I'm curious, Josh, are you a roller coaster guy? Do you like roller coasters?
Growing up, I rode like every roller coaster in Six Flags, and now it's like I don't think you could pay me to get on one of them. The adult age has made me not as much into the roller coasters.
Yeah. OC Girl and I, we were in Santa Cruz about a year ago, and Santa Cruz has this wooden roller coaster on the beach, and we rode that. I was convinced I was going to die riding that roller coaster. It's like, I don't think this is very safe. Traveling the World asks, Redwoods or Sequoia Kings Canyon?
Oh man, in terms of national parks, which one's better? That would be hard for me as well. Redwoods is so cool because it has that coastal aspect. Plus, it has one of my favorite small hikes, which is Fern Canyon, where they filmed some of Jurassic Park: The Lost World. But I mean, I love Kings Canyon. I just was there about a week ago. I go any chance I can get down into that canyon. It's such an incredible drive and caves and hikes and waterfalls. It's like awesome, both of them.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. So we talked about beaches. What about beach towns, like towns that are built up around the beach? What do you think is the best beach town?
I'm real partial to the Central Coast. I spend a lot of time there growing up and in college, and I anytime I can go there, I love it. So going to like Cambria or Pismo or San Luis Obispo or Avila, all of those types of towns around there. Lots of cool stuff to do. A little bit less busy than Southern California, so always appreciate that.
LG agrees with you on Cambria. Give it a vote. Cambria on the Central Coast. One of my favorites on the Central Coast, and just for a thing they have, is Pismo Beach. Because Pismo Beach is all about clams, and I love that they have this like gigantic statue of a clam, and it's like you could just go like, oh, we know we're in Pismo Beach because there's a huge statue of a clam. Yeah. But
And some of the best clam chowder ever too, right there with that clam statue.
I've not had the clam chowder there. I think I should. Cab gives a vote for Manhattan Beach. Prince Eric gives a vote for Malibu, which, if this works, I don't know, Prince Eric, why your comment isn't coming up. There it is. It's just slow today. Hasn't eaten its Wheaties. And I'll say, so my favorite beach town is just south of Malibu. It's Santa Monica. Santa Monica is famous for the Santa Monica Pier. And I know Josh just probably drove it because he did his Route 66 video recently. Did you start at the Santa Monica Pier, Josh? Or
We did, yeah. We went west to east.
Okay. And so Santa Monica, depending upon how you look at it, it's either the beginning or the end of Route 66. But just I love the vibe in Santa Monica. And it's right next to Venice Beach, which is a really, like, Venice Beach is almost like one of the most visited places in Los Angeles. They get more visitors to Venice Beach than Disneyland. But Santa Monica's nicer than Venice Beach is. Venice Beach has a bit of a... LA's Skid Row, I guess, has moved down there now, which is probably the nicest way to say it. Let's see. Kathy, speaking of roller coasters, says that they have a continually running wooden roller coaster in the world, Luna Park in Melbourne, Australia. I've ridden that one, Kathy. That was a fun roller coaster. Brian says Josh does an excellent Oregon video of Cannon Beach, totally an underrated place.
Love Cannon Beach. I agree.
And Meritocratic Mafia says, we're going up against the election coverage. It's brave. We wanted to provide something informative, wholesome, and fun, and maybe less depressing than the spiral of election coverage. So we are here for all of you today. AZ wants to know if there's anything to see along the Mexican border.
There's a state park down at the very southern tip of California that's pretty interesting. You can kind of walk along the wall and see the difference between the Mexican and United States side. So that's definitely worth checking out. In terms of other things, I haven't done a ton, but you grew up in San Diego, right? You probably have some tips on this.
For sure. And actually my tip was going to be that state park. So that state park is called the Borderfield State Park. And it is really kind of neat to be on this place that's the U.S.-Mexican border. You can see into Mexico. You can see the bullfighting ring. And then also there's just the whole vibe about like the border patrol and all this kind of stuff. So it's interesting, or maybe half sad, of like worlds divided. But it is that would be, I think, the most interesting attraction on the U.S. side of the Mexican border. The rest of it is like a fence, or border crossings. All right. So we talked about beach towns and natural environments. What about cities? What do you think the best big city in California is?
I like San Francisco. Just a lot of cool stuff you can do there. Lots of good food. Lots of even the urban hiking. Lots of just unique things that people come from all over to see. Plus, it's very walkable, which is nice as well.
I've learned never to call it Frisco. That's what people say. You can call it SF, but you can't call it Frisco.
That's good to know. Pro tip.
Yeah, that's it. Cable car. Do you ride the cable car, San Francisco?
Every once in a while, probably every other time I go, I'll hop on the cable car. It's fun. There's
Inside
just a long
or outside?
line.
Do you hang on the outside of the cable car? Do you do that, or do you go inside?
You gotta hang on the outside if you can do it, and that's the most fun way to experience it. And it's crazy how close it comes to some cars. You're trying to get skinny while you're going around just so you don't run into something.
It is. The cable car in San Francisco is one of those things where you're like, I'm amazed they still run this, right? With San Francisco, that seems like a fairly city that's about safety and all that stuff, and it's yeah, just hop on the outside of that, go buy a dump truck. It's cool. I enjoyed San Francisco as well. My favorite big town, though, my hometown, San Diego, California. It's the southernmost big city in California. I like the vibe of San Diego as compared to the vibe of California and San Francisco. Sorry, vibe of like LA and San Francisco. LA and San Francisco, even though they're neat places, both of them feel like places that when you're there, there's a lot of like work and rushing and all that sort of stuff. Where San Diego has a bit more of like the surf vibe, where it's the kind of place where like it's a nice day at the beach. People are like, I know it's a Tuesday, but maybe I'll go out surfing today.
Yeah, if I could live a big city, that's the only one I'd live in, probably is San Diego. The rest of them I can't imagine living. Visiting, they're cool, but not living.
Gaming Kingdom says, I went to an aquarium in Chula Vista, San Diego. I know the aquarium you're talking about because I went there for like a 4th grade field trip or something like that. But I think the best aquarium in San Diego is the Scripps Aquarium, which is like part of UCSD. Josh, do you have any thoughts on aquariums? Are you an aquarium fan?
I think that's the only one I've been doing in Southern California, but I mean, definitely the one in Monterey is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the best aquariums in the United States.
I would second the one in Monterey. I've been to the one in Monterey, and that's a really neat aquarium. I did it in like one of those. Obviously, you probably know, Josh, as a YouTuber, you're sort of like, I need to go see this, I need to go see this, and I need to videotape this. And so I ended up with like 2 hours to see the Monterey Aquarium, and it was really not enough.
I need like a half day for that one.
For sure. I was staying in a hotel that was right on Cannery Row in Monterey, but it was an awful night because they were doing road construction, not overnight, but they had put like one of those metal plates down on the road, but they didn't put it down well. So every time a car drove by, it was the metal plate, and we're like, click, clank, click, clank. I'm like, I guess I'll get up at 6 in the morning. I just can't sleep anymore. So the opposite of big towns, small towns. What do you think the best small town in California is?
Best small town. I like a Northern California area. There's a town called Mendicino that a lot of people don't go up and visit as well, but it's a really cool spot. And anytime I get a chance to go up there, I definitely do it. And again, outdoors related stuff, cool food, cool beaches. And definitely when you get to Northern California, a lot of people don't know, but it's just the beaches are totally different there. It's not the crazy packed crowds of Southern California. You can go and sit on a beach by yourself sometimes, and so that Mendocino area has got a special place in my heart.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never been to Mendocino, but I've eaten at Mendocino Farms. Does that count? It's like a sandwich shop.
It's a great spot. I love that spot.
Yeah. Right on. My favorite small town is a town called Solvang, and Solvang is north of Los Angeles, like on the way to Santa Barbara, and it's this like Dutch settlement a little bit where like there's like windmills and a whole bunch of like Dutch pastry shops, and so it's just kind of like a neat place to visit. Josh, what are you?
And
what are you
can feed ostriches there, which is like my favorite thing to do.
I've done that
like 15 times because I can't stop and not feed the ostriches.
Do you have a video on feeding the ostriches, Josh?
It's on one of my videos. I'm sure it's crazy because you like hold the thing out and then they just like peck, like you feel like they're gonna like bite you or something. It's a good experience. So feed the ostriches next time you're up there.
I'm gonna look for that video, Josh. I that sounds like a lot of fun. What are you drinking today, Josh?
Oh, I have a iced Earl Grey tea that I made at my house.
Very nice, very nice. Today I am drinking a tiramisu foam milk tea. So it's milk tea, iced milk tea with tiramisu foam, and so it makes it taste kind of like you might expect if you put tiramisu in a blender and combined it with a milk tea. It's actually kind of like sweet and desserty.
Yours is way better than mine. That's a cool drink right there.
It is kind of a neat drink. All right, the question in the chat here. Well, actually, one comment from Dub888CC said he was waiting for this collab. So thank you very much. And Martin corrects me. Thank you very much. I appreciate this, that Solvang is a Danish town. So thank you, Martin. Prince Eric asks Santa Monica versus La Jolla and then puts my name afterwards. But Josh, I'm going to give you the first crack at that, and then I'll take a second crack.
I go La Jolla. I like Santa Monica, but La Jolla is much more my more chill vibe.
Yeah, I think Prince Eric. It depends what you like. If you like nature and like sea lions and caves and all that stuff, then La Jolla's pretty cool. If you like lively and lots of people and the Santa Monica Pier and that sort of stuff and street performers, then Santa Monica's pretty cool. It's really hard to pick between those two because they're so almost different, frankly. So okay, we talked about small towns. Let's talk about mountain towns. What do you think the best mountain town in California is?
I like growing up in Southern California. I like the town of Julian, which is kind of up in the eastern Sandeigo area, just because it's kind of like a fall tradition that you drive to Julian and they make these epic apple pies, and you know can pick up your pie. So I don't know. It just always had a special place in my heart as well.
For sure. So growing up in San Diego, I've been to Julian a lot as a kid, and it was the place to go in San Diego for snow because it's like the highest elevation spot. I love the apple pies there too. That's the thing to do. And then it's funny now living in Orange County, and it was only a place that like I discovered a couple years ago. OC Girl and I discovered a town called Oak Glen in Yucaipa, which it's like this mountain town, just kind of in like the mountains of Los Angeles, and it's also another like apple town where there's all these like apple orchards. And what I like about that one is like there's a lot. So like Julian has the apple pies, but there's not as much apples around, and it's just kind of neat to drive around this little 2-mile road with like almost no mountain driving. It's in the mountains, but you can get up there on a pretty easy road, and just everything's apple-ish. Like it almost seems like a theme park of a mountain town with like apples as the theme. And then
Yeah, that's a fun one.
and then I love to bring back a mile-high apple pie. And it's a tall apple pie, but they also say it's mile high because they bake it in a bake shop that's 5,000 feet elevation, right? So it is a mile-high apple pie. Briggs gives a vote for Big Bear.
Big Bear's great, summer and winter.
Yes. Denny and Nikki says, watch the election or learn about travel in California. Travel all day. Thank you, Denny and Nikki. And Vic also likes Oak Glen as a nice getaway.
What's cool about Oak Glen too is that in Southern California we have Oak Glen with like going for apples, but then up in Sacramento, I'm messing up. I'm trying to forget the name, but about 45 minutes outside of Sacramento in the east, they have a bunch of apple orchards as well. And so it's like we have the tradition in Southern California to go to Oak Glen, and they have the tradition up in Northern California to go there and do their apple picking. So, Northern and Southern California, we share some similarities.
Yeah, for sure. Some things in common. Okay, so we talked about mountain towns and driving. What do you think the best road trip in California is? Obviously, there's a lot of roads in California, a lot of scenic drives, but what do you think the best one is?
I would say in California, we have two of the premier road trips in the entire world. The first one is Pacific Coast Highway, Highway 1, that people come to to drive from all over the world. But then the Highway 395, which is on the eastern side of the state, is probably my favorite. It goes along the eastern Sierras, lots of small towns, lots of interesting history, lakes, rock formations. There's a cool ghost town there. There's, just all sorts of stuff. It's one of those ones where you spend more and more time and you find more and more things like to discover every time you go on that trip. So Highway 395 is definitely my favorite.
That's cool. Any big like metal dinosaurs on that? I mean, California has a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Like metal dinosaurs, and I know on the way out to Vegas, those are always interesting things to see.
There's a metal sculpture garden on 395 that has these kind of like sculptures on social commentary that you can pull off at. I always do that, see if they put up any new ones. Yeah. California likes their outdoor art for sure.
For sure. Cab also gives a second to Highway 1, which is the other name to Pacific Coast Highway. And I agree. I think Pacific Coast Highway is just one of those neat, really interesting drives. And so this is, earlier when Josh said people want to come to California and they say, I'm going to do the whole state in like 3 days, right? It's like if you really want to do like Pacific Coast Highway or the Highway 1 from San Diego to San Francisco, like that's easily a 2-week trip. I mean, if you're doing it what I would consider well, meaning like actually enjoying the things and not just, like buzzing through the towns. Okay, so we talked about best road trip. What's your favorite foot trip? And by foot trip, I mean hiking.
Foot trip. I've never heard it referred to as that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, hiking is my thing, so I've hiked literally all over the state. In terms of small hikes, like going to Fern Canyon or up in Northern California, or doing any of the Yosemite hikes, are always going to be one of my favorites. And my wife and I, and one of my friends, Jeff from SoCal Hiker, we did Mount Shasta, which is a 14,000 foot peak where you need an ice axe and crampons and all that kind of thing. And that was probably the hardest hike I've ever done in the state. And so that one holds a special place as well, just for the fact that it was a lot of work to get to the summit. So pretty cool.
I do no hikes like that. My idea of a good hike is someplace that I can get between breakfast and lunch. Meaning that I don't have to pack food. If I can do that, then I'm pretty good. And probably get back to a working bathroom before my bladder fills up.
That's fair. We suffer a lot. We did rim to rim in the Grand Canyon in one day as well. And so I mean, it's kind of like you just sometimes you don't have enough time to do something, so you just got to push yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Well, and this is so I know you have some recent newborn twins. I have a 10-month-old daughter, and I was doing a hike recently not in Crystal Cove State Park, but in Laguna Beach. There's the Aliso and Woods Canyon, and I did this hike. It's not a significant hike. It's like a 500-foot. Well, it's like 1,000-foot elevation gain, but it's like a reverse hike. You start on top, you go down into the canyon, and you come back up with a 20-pound baby and a 15-pound backpack. And I was like, adding 35 pounds to my back made what's like a difficult trail, like a very difficult trail. Yeah.
You earned your Shake Shack for the day.
That's right, for sure. I'm sure you've got some of that baby carrying hikes in your future.
I don't know how I'm going to carry two of them.
That'll be tough. I think you'll need to get Amy trained up with her backpack too, right? They make the guy's backpack and the girl's backpack. So, AZ says, "What's the best art street?"
Street art street. I'd probably somewhere in I would think Venice or Santa Monica probably has street art. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
You got anything?
Sure. So Venice does have a lot of interesting art just on the boardwalk that you can see. There's also a lot of murals and things like that. I think Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles actually has a ton of graffiti walls and things like that. So if you want to take Instagram pictures with street art, then I think it's Melrose Avenue in LA. Let's see, Vic.
That's true. There's a cool Kobe Bryant one there. Now that you say that.
Yeah. Vic says Griffith Park is the only place to hike in the middle of the city, in the middle of Los Angeles.
What about Runyon Canyon?
Right. Let's see. Cab wants to know if shopping is considered a foot trip. Sure, I think you
Absolutely.
I think you can get your exercise shopping, no problem. Food experts joined in, said, "Hey guys, hey Bert." Very good. We'll both give you a wave, Bert. Anita P says, "Josh, I watched your Route 66 video 5 times. You and your wife are beautiful."
Wow, thank you. That's a long video to watch 5 times. I appreciate it. Hopefully you still like me better than my dad. My dad's getting a lot more fans than me now. I think everybody really likes him.
Right on.
He's going to take over the YouTube channel.
Yeah, right on. For those who haven't seen it, Josh's Route 66 video is little over 2 hours. It's gotten 3.5 million views, so super popular video. I think as people are at home and they can't go outside, they're like, let me relive. Let me live Route 66. Food expert asks, what are your guys' favorite original California food? Josh?
I love the California burrito. It's like a burrito they make in San Diego and rest of Southern California, where they take carne asada and pico de gallo salsa and cheese, and they put French fries in it. And it sounds kind of weird, but it's freaking incredible.
For sure. I love the California burrito as well. I think probably one of my favorite California foods is from Central California, and that is Santa Maria style tri-tip barbecue sandwiches. So they kind of barbecue, smoke the tri-tip, they cut it really thin, put barbecue sauce on it. It's super tender when it's done well. And my favorite place to have it is in San Luis Obispo. There's this kind of like bar in the downtown San Luis Obispo. I think it's called like Firehouse Tap.
Firestone?
Firestone. Very good. Firestone. Yeah, that's it.
I was like, dude, that's my jam. I love that spot.
Yeah,
Great minds
yeah.
think alike, man. I didn't know how similar we were.
Yeah, we are. This is, Josh and I couldn't meet in person because it's COVID, but I think we're a little bit of a kindred California spirits.
Did we just become best friends?
That's right. I think we did, Josh. I think we did. Orca Production says Carnitas Snack Shack Burgers, which I think that was probably a spelling autocorrect change. Carnitas Snack Shack is pretty good. I also
Really
think
good.
that like the Mexican food in general in California like has a whole vibe of its own. As Josh said, the California burritos, and I can eat Mexican food every day for every meal, and I wouldn't. Well, I have to get In-N-Out Burger in there too, just so we're clear. Tony says we both helped him save a crazy amount on a 10-day trip to LA last year, so we can.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed your trip, Tony.
Gaming Kingdom asks if biking on a trail is the same. I don't know, maybe a question about, Josh, do you have any favorite bike rides in California? Places to ride your bike.
Dang. I mean, in Southern California, we have the Santa Ana River Trail, which is cool because it goes from like Redlands area, which is about 40 miles inland from the beach. You can actually ride the trail all the way down to the beach. So that's a cool street bike trail that people do. In terms of mountain biking, I haven't done a ton of mountain biking in California, but the ski lifts like up in Big Bear during the summer, they do mountain biking, and it's a ton of fun because you can just throw your mountain bike on the lift and have it. You don't got to do any of the uphill part, the hard part. You just take it to the top and then you ride all the way down.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that, and I've never quite got my bike in my car and taken it up to Big Bear. I've got like a full suspension mountain bike with disc brakes, and OC Girl makes fun of me all the time because she's like, you don't take this on any mountains. You just like ride this around the beach boardwalk. And I'm like, well, it's really good to go off curbs with my full suspension. Yeah,
You'd love it. It's a huge adrenaline rush with doing that for sure.
For sure. I think one of my favorite bike rides is the beach path from Santa Monica that you can take from Santa Monica down through Venice, down through Marina del Rey, into Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, and then kind of like finally into Hermosa and Torrance. It's a really neat ride. Though it's busy, you got to be like dodging skateboarders and roller skaters and runners all the time. Kathy thought that I was going to say, or one of us was going to say, the most classic food is In-N-Out Burgers. And the reason why I picked Santa Maria Tri-Tip, I love In-N-Out Burger, but you can get In-N-Out Burger in more places than California, and good Tri-Tip sandwiches, not so much, or at least has been my experience. Allah wants to know, how is traveling to California with COVID going on?
It's been a weird year for sure. I think California is definitely on the more stricter side of the pandemic rules and everything. So like most places you can't like eat inside of a restaurant. Some don't even have outdoor dining. Travel in museums and Disneyland and all sorts of things are closed right now. So I mean, for me, I've just been trying to stay away from most people and do a lot of like hiking and outdoor related stuff over this year. But if you're coming for like the big cities and things like that, it's probably not the best time to come for that type of thing. But if you want to do hiking and outdoor recreation, you can still do a lot of that in California for sure.
Yeah. And Josh, I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot, as have I. And people say like, Chris, I'm coming to LA or whatever. What is there to do? And I'm like, outdoor stuff. That's what there is to do. There's lots of outdoor stuff in California, and if you're cool doing outdoor stuff and like eating outside or like eating in your car, restaurants still open. Just take it out, eat it for a picnic, do your hike, go to the beach. Just don't expect to go to a lot of museums or nightclubs.
It's definitely it's been
ahead.
one of the best years to visit the national parks in California, for sure, because a lot of the tourism that would come from outside of California or outside of the country The pandemic has stopped all of that, and so a lot of these places like Yosemite that are traditionally incredibly busy, wall to wall with people in the summer. I mean, seeing like 10% of their traditional amount of people. So it's definitely been a good year if you're wanting to visit national parks and do hiking and things like that.
Yeah. Speaking of food, AZ asks, what do you think is the best California-only chain that is not In-N-Out Burger?
I don't know. I have to think of what California only chains there are. You got an answer for this one?
Sure. I actually, this is where I'm like, I did a video all about best California chain restaurants, but I will say that my favorite like mini chain is, and I'm picking. Well, my favorite mini chain is in Orange County. It's a place called Baja Fish Tacos, and it's all about Baja Fish Tacos. They've got like 5 locations in Orange County. Something a little bit bigger in LA, like in Los Angeles, is King Taco. Josh, I don't know if you've eaten at King Taco, but like King Taco is this like institution for tacos. I really like their carne asada nachos. They have like 40 locations across LA and nowhere outside of LA.
Dang. I think now I like this place called Lemonade. Have you ever been to Lemonade?
Yeah. Lemonade's good too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell everybody about Lemonade.
It's like a more healthy kind of fast casual place where they have like 15 or 20 different like vegetable combination side dish stuff. And so you can kind of go and pick and sample it. And it's definitely one of my wife's favorite places. And so we go like all the time when we're driving through LA to Lemonade.
Yes. If you want to see inside of a Lemonade, if you search for Yellow Productions Best Cheap Eats Los Angeles, you'll see Lemonade is in that video. I like Lemonade. Also, if you get a drink at Lemonade, their straw is yellow. So, I'm kindred spirits with Lemonade that way. Ethan wants to know if you've ever been to Boonville, New York. Yeah.
Can't say I have.
Neither have I. All right, that makes 2 of us. Ethan, should we go to Boonville, New York? Like, what's special about it? Kathy in Australia in Melbourne says they're still on lockdown and can't go more than 25 kilometers from their house. And I know that lockdown was just 5 kilometers before, so that's pretty crazy. Kevin wants to know about schools. Will schools open later on? I'll say, yeah, right. Being travel people, we probably don't have the thing about schools. I'll say in Orange County, some schools have already reopened. Some schools aren't. I am sure later on, some point in the future, schools will be open again. Allie Dreams wants to know if Catalina Island and Coronado Island are must-do trips or just nice to see if you have a bunch of time.
I think it just depends on what you're looking to do. They're both really fun. They both like Coronado's cool for like the history and things that it has there. And that's a much easier trip to fit in. Catalina is so full day because you got to take the boat over. But I mean, I love going to both of those places.
Yeah. I think if you are in San Diego, Coronado Island's a must do because it's real close. And Coronado Island, like in Coronado, you need to visit the Hotel del Coronado. It's the like biggest and oldest wooden hotel on the west coast of the United States, and the Grand Floridian at Disney World is like modeled after the Hotel Del. If you like look at the Hotel Del, you're like, are you shaking your head, Josh? It's not. It's modeled after something else.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I was saying, oh man,
yeah,
didn't
right,
know that.
right, yeah. It's supposedly haunted too, but I guess if you stay in one of the newer rooms, the ghosts won't bother you. Yeah, and I agree on Catalina Island. If you were spending like 2 weeks in Southern California, then I would say go ahead and take like an overnight trip to Catalina. It's an expensive ferry ride. It's like $80 a person, and the island's expensive, so it'll cost you. But if you if you super like nature and hikes that are really like middle of nowhere nature, where you see like what, buffaloes or I can't remember what the animals are that are there on the island, but that's cool to be in the nature reserve in the middle of Catalina.
Yeah, we did 5 days hiking across the island this year, right before the pandemic. So if you're into hiking, that's a really unique long distance hike that you can do in the United States, being able to just hike across an island. So
right. Yeah, that's impressive. Tony RB123 says, when things start opening back up, will you make updated versions of your videos like cheapest or newest things like that? I'm sure the lists might change.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to have to update a lot of content after this for sure. I know things are going. I think that the glass slide in LA is not going to be around anymore or something I read about. So I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of places that are going to be going out of business or gone or things like that after the pandemic. So
That's too bad. The glass slide, for people who don't know, in downtown Los Angeles, there was this observatory there that, on like, I don't know, the 60th floor or something, had like this glass slide that you could take down. It's really neat. I think, unfortunately, that place just didn't get very many people, and I think it's also because their name was weird. It was like the name of the Middle Eastern company that owned the place. So I don't know. People were just like, it wasn't like, oh, you go to the World Trade Center when you go to New York. You know, I don't think like it got that place in LA. Cab also points out that there's a lemonade in LAX. There is a lemonade in LAX Terminal 6.
I think it's the international terminal, right?
Terminal 4? No, it's not in the international terminal. It's like in the terminal next to the international terminal, which I think is like the American Airlines terminal. Could be wrong.
I don't fly out of LAX if I can avoid it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Let's see. Andrea wants to know, when things get better, will you go to Las Vegas?
I was planning on making some videos on Las Vegas because I make just like city videos on my other channel, and I just was trying to hit all of the big cities this year, but I didn't get a chance to get to Las Vegas this year. I would love to go back and make a video on it, but probably like once for me. I went to Vegas like hundreds of times growing up, and it's lost its luster a little bit for me over the years. But I know you do a lot in Vegas, right?
For sure, and I am sure I will be back to Las Vegas. Obviously, having the 10-month old keeps me a little more grounded than before, but I will definitely be back in Vegas, and I'm not going now because I'm not worried about it being bad. Was that too many negatives? Anyway, I would be comfortable enough going to Vegas now the way it is. Emmett says, do you cover LA sports teams' victory parades since the Dodgers and Lakers just won? Did you attend?
I did not know. Yeah, especially this year with all of the people and everything, I didn't go down there to LA. But I mean, I try to cover a lot of those types of things if I can, but definitely not this year. I did a video on like the murals that they put up in LA for Kobe and things like that related to sports. And I've visited Dodger Stadium a few times during the day when it's open and you can kind of walk around the stadium, which is really, really fun, but not the victory parades.
Are you a sports fan, Josh? Sorry. Do you like sport? As I'm reading comments and reading names, right? Are you a sports fan, Josh?
I mean, I grew up playing basketball, so I always enjoy basketball. But nowadays, I basically only watch football, I think. And with the Twins and everything, I don't think I've seen a football game this whole year, so I'm not a great fan anymore.
Yeah, whenever people ask me like what my favorite sports are, I always say like growing up in Southern California, I'm like, well, I could either watch something on TV or in a bar or sitting in a place, or I could go for a bike ride, or I could go for a hike. And so that's usually what I end up opting for, some like outdoor exercisey activity instead of just watching a sport. But Victor wants to know if we're into winter sports.
Is that like snowboarding and skiing?
I assume so.
I snowboarded like my whole life, so I don't do it as much as I used to, but I definitely love getting to do some snowboarding when I get the chance, for sure.
Favorite snowboarding spot?
Tahoe again.
All right.
Everything's in Tahoe. There's just so much. I mean, it's so expensive to snowboard up there, but it's incredible because you get the views of the lake and everything as you're coming down, and so it's pretty hard to beat at least once.
Yeah. I guess of those, I prefer snowboarding to skiing, but OC Girl and I, our favorite winter sport is snow tubing. You know, where you get in the inner tube and you just go down the hill. And it's both in Big Bear and Tahoe, there are like places that you can do snow tubing. Our favorite snow tubing place in the U.S. is not in California. It's in Colorado. It's in Vail, which is a really expensive place. But they have a snow tubing run at Mid-Vail, which is like an elevation of like 13,000 feet or something. So you take the same, lift that the skiers and the snowboarders take, and then they've built like the whole magic carpet and the conveyor belt that takes you up to the run to go down the snow tubes. It's $50 a person.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but it is super awesome. This has my name on it, but I'm gonna. It's got both of our names on it. So, what are our thoughts on so many Californians moving out, especially to Texas? What are your thoughts on the state of Texas?
Texas is cool. I've only been a couple of times, but the food is incredible. All the barbecue there and everything. I'd love to spend some more time in Texas and explore a little bit. I think it gets a lot more humid than California does in the summer, so not sure I would love that. But every time I've been to Texas, I've had a good time.
Yeah, right. And my thoughts too. I'm like, if people want to leave to go to Texas or whatever, it's fine. I feel like the whole story about people are leaving California, that's been the story of my life. I don't mean the story of my life, but like ever since I've been alive and living in California, that's been the story. And you know what? For every person who moves out, people move in. So, and then Texas, yeah, as Josh said, I love the food in Texas. I love the barbecue in Texas. I don't No offense to anybody who lives in Texas, but as Josh said, the humidity, like especially in like Houston in the summer, is life sapping. At least for me, I don't. I growing up in San Diego, it's a pretty dry climate. I don't do well in hot and humid places. But I guess speaking of living, Wu Tai wants to know maybe what you think about living in Tahoe.
I've never done it, but I would love to. I love the Tahoe area, especially like I would love to just go up there for 3 months or something and live and get to know the area a little bit more. I don't know about the winter when it's crazy amounts of snow, but I'm sure that'd be cool too once you get used to it.
Yeah, I think Tahoe, it's like to live there, you'd have to be cool with the small town and you have to be cool with being shut in with snow every once in a while. And it seems like everybody who lives there drives a Subaru because they're like four-wheel drive cars. And if you live there, you really need four-wheel drive. Brandon says hello, and he says he's been a big fan for a while.
Thank you. Very appreciate it.
California also has some like weird and wacky attractions. We talked about, metal signs on the road. What do you think is the best weird or wacky attraction in California?
Yeah, there's a lot. I like trying to find that stuff because it's more fun to travel when you can have like a roadside stop.
Yeah.
I just went to the Cabazon dinosaurs, which are the dinosaurs from like the Pee Wee Herman movie, if people know what that is. And I just went there this last week, and they painted the T-Rex to look like Santa, and I thought that was
cool.
pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
But I think Salvation Mountain is also really cool out in the Salton Sea area, so that's a good one as well.
I've not been to Salvation Mountain. What is that, or what's weird or wacky about that?
Yeah, so it was this one guy. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but there's the dinosaur in with the Santa outfit on.
That's cool.
Salvation Mountain is just like this one man's. He had this vision of like showing the world that God was love, and so he like went down into the desert and he started like painting this mountain, like all these like different things on it, and he's been building it for like 40 years or something like that. And so you drive down in the middle of basically nowhere in the desert, and there's this huge mountain down there that's had hay and paint and all sorts of stuff, and people come from all over the world to see it. So it's definitely a really cool, I'm totally butchering his story, but it's a really cool spot to experience when you're in Southern California.
That is cool. My favorite weird or wacky one is in LA and Los Angeles. It's the Watts Towers, which are in Watts, which are famous for the riots that were in Watts a number of years ago. But there was this guy by the name of Simon Rodia. He was an Italian immigrant, and he built the world's largest structure built by a single person. He built these towers that are like over 100 feet tall or something like that out of rebar and tile. And then at some point he decided he didn't want to build it anymore, and he went to his neighbor and he gave him the key and said, "Here you go." And the guy just left, and people don't really know what happened to him, but the towers are still there. Got a comment. This was not the one I wanted to put up, but Rosalie said, mega love and shout out to both of you hosts. So thank you for the mega love and the shout out.
Thank you.
Emmett Doc Brown from Back to the Future says, what's the adventure both of you look forward to most sharing with your kids, especially when they become old enough to remember the experience?
I think that's the best question I've ever seen on a live stream. So
Deep.
thank you for
It's
that.
deep. Yeah.
Very deep. I mean, for me, it's Yosemite. I'll never forget the first time I saw Yosemite as a child, and going back there over the years with my parents. I can't wait to be able to introduce Yosemite to my children. Just the beauty of going through the tunnel that first time and seeing that view. I mean, it's something I'll never forget.
Right on. I think for me, it's like biking along the beach. I mean, that's one of those where, now that our daughter's getting a little older, I'm getting like the handlebar kind of thing, like to put, her on the front of the handlebar. But in particular, I really like the tandem bicycle. So I'm thinking like a tandem bicycle ride along a beach boardwalk. Particularly Californian.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. EJ Brad and Kai says, "Hey guys, I love San Diego, friendly people. But what's the best part of LA?"
Griffith Observatory. That's like the only thing that I go back to over and over again in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is hard to explore because it's just so busy and there's so much going on, and it's hard to get around with the traffic and everything. But I mean, I love Griffith Observatory anytime I can get up there.
Yeah. Being a foodie, my favorite part of LA is the LA Farmers Market. It's this kind of like, you could almost call it like an outdoor food hall before there were food halls. But it's this place that has like 30 or so food vendors. Most people know it as the place next to the Grove Shopping Center, but the Farmers Market was there before the Grove was built. So if you like food and outdoor eats, I would check out the LA Farmers Market. Let's see. JJ
They got
says,
a good donut shop there too.
I've not had the donuts there. I'll have to try that next time. I really like, there's a Singaporean restaurant, and there's also like a Brazilian barbecue place, which are really good. And Wu Tai agrees with you that the Griffith Observatory is amazing, but there's so much traffic though in the day. It's
Agreed 100%.
It's rough to park there. Wu Tai mentions Japantown, which I think you mean in downtown Los Angeles, Little Tokyo. And I think Little Tokyo is super cool. It's one of my favorite neighborhoods that are part of LA. It's got this little like village that has like blue tiled shops. I mean, it kind of, for like 2 blocks, it really feels like you're in Japan. Of course, then you walk 2 blocks further, and you're not sure you want to walk anymore. You want to get back in your car. Cab says it's impossible to name just one part of LA. It's a big place for sure. So speaking of foodies, what do you think the best part of California is for foodies? People who like food.
I would probably say San Francisco also. Just because there's so much variety of food there, and some of the top restaurants in the state are there. Plus, you can hop up to like the Napa area, where Yountville has the most Michelin stars per capita of like any city in the world. So, I mean, if you want to go, super fine dining, you can hop up there and have some pretty incredible meals, or you can just stay down in San Francisco and get all sorts of good food down in that area.
Gaming Kingdom says he lives in Koreatown and likes it a lot. I really like Koreatown as a place for food too in Los Angeles. Like Los Angeles has a lot of good eats, and there's a lot of like really interesting Korean barbecue places and just kind of things that like you don't find in many parts of California. Yeah, I think both San Francisco and LA do have a lot of good food, and that's actually one of the things I asked Josh what he likes about California at the beginning. One of the things I like about California is just the wide variety of food. Like almost anything you'd want to eat, you can find here. Bizarrely, though, one thing I've seen more in Australia than here is Malaysian food. It seems like in Australia, there's a Malaysian restaurant in every corner, and it's really hard to find Malaysian food. Josh, can you think of a Malaysian restaurant around?
I don't even know what Malaysian food is.
Yeah, for sure.
So, no, I guess I can't.
Yeah, right.
I'd love to try it, though. I love trying all sorts of new types of food. So if you find a good Malaysian restaurant, let me know, and I'll go check it out.
For sure, I will let you know. Well, it's time for something we always do on one of these live streams.
Yes, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the giveaway.
As
I hope
usual,
I win.
All right. Well, Josh, I think for coming on the live stream, if you want a shirt, you can absolutely have one. But as usual, I'll be giving away a Yellow Productions crew shirt with the Yellow Productions logo on it right there to someone who answers one of my questions. And as something Josh said, I asked Josh what his favorite small town is in California. And if you can answer what Josh's favorite small town is, then you will win a Yellow Productions crew shirt shipped to you anywhere in the world. While people are putting those answers in the chat, Josh, tell people how they can find you and what they'll find when they get there.
I'm on CaliforniaThroughMyLens.com on the internet for my blog, and California Through My Lens for Instagram and YouTube, and CA Through My Lens for the other ones that California Through My Lens was too long for. So you'll find me doing travel videos. You'll find my dad, who people like better than me. You'll find my wife, who people like better than me. But you'll find me there as well.
Very good. And if you can't remember any of that, to type it in the description, you will find a link to California Through My Lens, which will get you through all of Josh's content. And Village Idiot put this in the chat. Mendicino, is that correct, Josh? Is that your favorite small town?
I think that's what my answer was, so I'll go with yes.
That is your answer.
Good job, Village Idiot.
And now we have a winner chicken dinner.
All right, Village Idiot, you win the Yellow Production shirt shipped to you anywhere in the world. Message me on Facebook or send me an email to chris@yellow.net with 2 W's. Let me know what size you want and your address, and I will get that to you right away. I know there are more questions in the chat. Unfortunately, we didn't get to all of them in an hour, but I'm sure that now Josh and I know that we're kindred spirits. I'm sure, Josh, if you're willing to, maybe we'll do something again in the future, and we'll get to the questions we didn't get to today. Josh, thanks for coming on. Any parting words before we sign off here?
No, thanks for having me, and thanks everyone in the chat for being so active and having such good questions. It was really fun to hang out with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as usual, I won't say goodbye because I'm going to see you all in the next video. As usual, this Friday, recorded video. What's it going to be on? I don't know yet because I haven't finished editing it. Maybe I do know, but it's a secret. You'll find out this Friday. Next live stream next week on Tuesday, same time, same channel, 4:45. And Josh will see you over there on California Through My Lens.